Hello, Slicey Dicers. This is Brian with kind of a different kind of video for you. I do these long-term updates sometimes, and you guys seem to like them. I've done one Premiere video. You guys seem to like that, so we're going to combine them. I'm going to do a bunch of long-term updates in one Premiere video, because if you guys this is your first YouTube Premiere video, or you're watching this afterwards, just to explain why I do that way, sometimes it gives you a little warning that it's coming up, and then we can chat live the first time it plays through. After that, it acts like a normal video. But they're better when they're longer, so that's what she said. So I'm going to do 5 different knives, long-term updates, all at once, and then I'm going to hang out with you, and we're going to, talk in the little chatty boxes about it as it plays through the first time, and then after that, it'll just be up there like a normal video. How this is going to work, I'm not going to give full stats or anything in these knives. It's not going to be full reviews. It's just going to be updates. I'm going to link to the review of all 5 of these knives down below, and you can go back and look at that if you want stats, because I'm pretty good about giving stats in the reviews. So if you want to know all the little tiny things, you can find that down there. This is just going to be, has my opinion changed? Do I like it more than I did? Do I like it less than I did when I did the review? That kind of stuff. But let's get going. Let's start out with the Benchmade Saibu. I've had this about 4 months, and I'm still really liking it. I still carry it quite a bit. It still looks great. I still love the look of it. I know the looks have seemed to have been a bit polarizing. Some people don't seem to care for it, and I get that, I guess. One thing I was incorrect on in the review, I believe, is I said this was Cocobolo. Some places call it Cocobolo. Some places call it Diamond Wood. Somebody said it was Diamond Wood. I don't know. I still can't really tell, but it might be either or, these little inserts. But you know what? They look great. I don't really care. But I still really love the ergonomics of it. Handle's still really good, and it's still one of my go-to sub 3-inch knives. One thing I do wish, after using it for now 4 months I've had it, is I do wish this blade was a bit taller. And I wish it was something more like the bug out, where it came closer to the bottom of the handle. It's not a deal breaker for me by any means, but I do kind of wish that was different. The 20 CV's been great. I've only had to touch it up once. This isn't a knife that gets a lot of heavy use. I do carry it a fair amount, as I said, but just the design of it and the size of it and stuff, it's not something I put through hell. So it's held up edge very well. I'm still really, really liking this. And there's a fair amount of billboarding here, but it hasn't scratched up. So yeah, and I've cut some cardboard and stuff with it. I'm not nice to it, but I'm not, it's just not the knife I usually have in my pocket when I think I'm doing something serious. So definitely has not been through hell, but I do really enjoy this knife still. So that is my long-term opinion of the Benchmade Saibu. All right, next up, we're going to have, this is the one I've had the longest of any of these that are going to be in here. This is a Real Steel G5 Metamorph. You're looking at about $60 on these. Oh, by the way, the Saibu is about $12.50. Still feel like that's good value. This is about $60, and I still think it's a great value. Front flipper, O-stop hell design. Really love it. I've only had this one for about 6 months. I had a blue one before that, but the blue was so blue, I swear you could hear it. It just was very, very blue. I sold it to get the gray one because the way I carry this a lot like kind of a gentleman sort of knife, and I didn't need that bright blue. So I sold my blue one to get this gray one. I've never done any videos with this gray one. The only problem I have with it, and I did not have this problem with the blue one, is the lockup on it is pretty late. You're looking about halfway through there. It hasn't changed since I got it. That's the way it was when it came out of the box. So I'm not saying it's wearing excessively fast or anything, but I did notice that. I was like, that's a little late. But it works fine. There's no lock rock, no blade play, no nothing. Everything's still good. The action is still freaking amazing. And I have not torn this apart in quite a while, actually. But I'm still loving the front flipper. It's still a lot of fun. Another reason I included this in this review is there is a new version of this coming out. The S5 Metamorph. They've also done a fixed blade, by the way. There's a fixed blade Metamorph you can get. There's an S5 coming out with titanium handles instead of the aluminum that this one has. S35VN instead of the 14C28 that this has. Don't know the price on that yet. It looks almost identical to this gray one. But will I be buying one? You bet your sweet Bippy I'm going to be buying one, because I really love this knife, and a fancy pants version of it Yep, sign me up all day long for that. I would really like it, and then I'll probably sell this one. But a very, very cool knife. I'm still really liking it. The only downside to it is, as a kind of gentlemanly folder, it's pretty long. You're looking at a blade length of, let me make sure I'm remembering right here. Yeah, almost, yeah, you're the 3 3/4 inches. So, and it's a very sticky looking blade, like sticky, not sticky like tactile. It's a very kind of stabby looking knife, and when you flip that out in the improper places, I have once or twice people going, "Oh my God, what is that?" So even though it's a very classy looking knife, I think I called it like techno classy or something like that in the original review. Yeah, got to keep in mind it's a very long knife. It's a long blade. It may freak some people out, but I do really, really like it. Next up, we have the Spyderco Gale Bradley 2. Yep, this is a knife that, as I said in the review, didn't know I needed until I had one in my hand. Nothing about this appealed to me when I first got this. Came out about the same time I really got into knives, and it just wasn't one that was even on my radar. And I was at a shop and I picked one up, this one, and I liked it, and I got a good deal, and I bought it. And still very glad that I did. This is a great knife. M4 steel, super slicey, very thin behind the edge, hollow grinds. Just a great cutting knife. It's just a very useful tool. Ergonomics are really good. Got jimping in the right place up here. There's just that tiny little bit, but it's so perfectly placed that I have to say, if anything, since the time I first reviewed this, my opinions on this, the ergonomics of this have only improved. It's still a great knife. I put the Aegis, I got it around here somewhere. I don't see it with an eyeball shot. The Aegis EDCI stuff on it to protect it, and I've got no corrosion, no nothing. It's held up really well. I have put 2 different MXG Gear deep carry clips on it, and I keep going back to the original. I don't think it's just the 2 clips that I got aesthetically just didn't really work with it, so I keep going back to the original one. And this is a knife that it's kind of big. It's not isn't really kind of a deep carry conceal knife, although it does look really classy. So I still do kind of want a deep carry clip, but I think if I do another one, I'll get a proper, just regular deep carry Casey Lynch in black on it and be done with it. But it's been a great knife at $155. They're not terribly expensive. Excellent knife from Spyderco. Really enjoying it. Taichung, Taiwan. You're getting the really good quality, the Spyderco Taiwanese quality. It's not a fidgety knife at all, but I mean, it still flicks out super easy. It's never going to be like drop shutty. It's just running on bushings. But I really do love it. It's been a great purchase, and this is one that's kind of a definitely keep forever kind of knife, I think. Next up, what do we have? I'm going to try and do these in order because I have the windows pulled up. We have the Three Rivers Manufacturing Neutron. Now, I've only had this for a couple months, but I've carried the hell out of it, so I still feel confident in talking about it more because it's just a great knife. Sub 3-inch, which matters for me because I do go some places where I have to carry sub 3-inch. Just runs on bushings, but super slim, so nice to carry, and just the sliciest freaking blade you have ever seen in your life. 20 CV steel. I will admit I use this quite a bit. I touched it up once just to see how hard it would be, but it really didn't need it. I mean, they do a great job with their heat treat. These are hand sharpened by RJ Martin from the factory, which is outstanding. Just been a fantastic knife. The slimness, I think I mentioned in the review, the slimness of the handle I thought might be too slim. I still feel that way to a point, but it's never really been a problem. Again, kind of like the Saibu, this isn't a knife that I do a lot of heavy use stuff with. It definitely could, but I just don't. Ironically, I use my Viator more, which is basically a slip joint version of this. when I'm really cutting a lot of cardboard or something for no logical reason. It's just that the fighter is 154 cm, or sorry, CPM 154, and it's much easier to sharpen. And it's just, I don't know. For some reason, I just use the Vider more. I think I love this more than the Vider, so I'm meaner to the Vider. But this has just been a great knife. These are the micarta scales. It has the G10 scales on it, or also they came with it. I will probably never use those. I didn't ask for them. They sent them along for the review, and they're like green, or I mean, sorry, orange. They're like bright hunter orange, and I don't care for that. But I do love the look of these micarta ones. It's been a great knife. This is another one that went through a couple of different pocket clips. Actually, ironically, I had a spare Benchmade bug out clip. I'm sorry, I'm showing you the Saibu clip. It's the same clip, just different colors. I had a spare bug out clip. I put that on it, but that was almost too deep carry. Like it stuck out to where, the knife started well below the clip, and it made it kind of a pain to pull out. So I just went back to the standard one. They're starting to do their own deep carry clips, so keep an eye out on Three Rivers for that. I'm sure they'll be available soon. That are more properly deep carry for this knife, that don't make it stick so far down in. But it's just been an awesome knife, and I love Three Rivers. So much so, this is my second one of 3. I've also bought an Atlas. That will be in a long-term update at some point. That's never going away. I have 3 of their knives. All 3 are keepers. So that's a pretty good shooting average. They're 3 for 3. As I said in the review, it still feels special. It still feels like a custom or something when you get it. They're kind of in a gray area between custom and mid-tech or whatever. They do come in short runs. You have to, it takes a minute to get one. You got to make sure you're looking at the right time and blah, blah, blah. But really, really, really loving this thing still. And yeah, this is one that also definitely never going away. I think all of these are pretty much keepers. I could envision a scenario in where I sell the Saibu, but other than that, the other 4, I can't really envision a scenario in where I sell any of them. Next one up, last one. This is not taking as long as I thought, but it'll still be good for a premiere video. All right, ZT0393SW, which stands for Stonewash. So this is one of ZT's sprint runs of the 0393. I've only had this for a couple months, but I can tell you, of those couple months, this is absolutely my most carried knife. And it's not something I particularly intended on loving. It was honestly, I thought it was going to be a catch and release, and I love it. I don't think I'll ever get rid of it. It's a Rick Hinderer design. I love it so much that I'm really thinking about selling some stuff to buy a XM18 with the new tri-way pivot, just to have a real Hinderer. Although a lot of people say ZT makes better Hinderers than Hinderer. I'm not sure that's true anymore now that they put bearings and stuff in them. But anywho, just such a great knife. I did put a deep carry clip on it. This is an MXG gear, and I do love this clip. It doesn't sink in like if you use the the standard clip. It sinks in like this does, like the spacer does for the left-hand carry. This one doesn't sink in like that. So they give you a spacer that goes underneath it, and then some longer screws so it sticks up. But you know what? It's just been fantastic. I just love so much about it. It's just so comfortable in the hand. It feels just beefy and serious and heavy, but not to the point that it's annoying. And it's just been awesome. I don't know what else to say about it. This is S35VN steel. That's the only downside I have with it. Not that there's anything wrong with S35VN. For this is $220, by the way, for the sprint run versions. And there's not just this one. There's also a blacked out version, I believe, and I can't remember the other one. But the standard version is blue with a half-coated blade, which is more expensive. It's $230, but it is 20 CV. That still just kind of rubs me wrong. I don't know why. It's like, this is a sprint run. It's still available, by the way. I looked at a couple places before I did it. You can still get this if you fall in love with this color and you just want one. So it's a few bucks cheaper than the 20 CV version, but I just want this to be 20 CV. I feel like I always kind of know that this isn't as good a steel as the standard version. Is it bad steel? No. And for the price, it's fine. It's not a bargain, but it's fine. But God, I wish I had the 20 CV. Just for my own. Do I use a knife hard enough that I'm gonna know the difference? Hell no, I'm not gonna know the difference. But I know that this has inferior steel to the main one, and that's always gonna bother me just a little bit. But I think that the production version is hideous, so that's why I went with this one. Because I look at a knife a lot, and I wanted something that looked better. And I really like the look of this one. It's more Brian spec, as everyone calls it. It's boring, but I like boring. Didn't like the blue, didn't like the half coated. I just thought it was ugly. But I'm still loving this thing. There's nothing I am afraid to do with this knife. I've beat on this knife quite a bit. The other ones I've said, oh, I've just touched them up every now and then. I've touched this one up quite a few times because it does get a lot of use. This knife probably gets more use than any other knife that I have. The S35 has been fine. I don't feel like I'm touching it up a ridiculously huge amount or anything like that. I've never had to fully like reprofile it or anything like that. The little their version of the Spyderco grind has not been a problem, as you can see. Like I said, it's only been through a few touch-ups, but it still looks fine. There's not really much of a change there. It's an aesthetic Spyderco grind. It doesn't really do that much. The thickness behind the edge, between the main edge and the Spyderco, is almost identical. It's really not a thing. Sometimes when I'm using it I usually use the Sharp Maker, my Spyderco Sharp Maker for touch-ups. I don't even feel it when I'm sliding it down. I don't even feel that it goes past the Spyderco. So it's really hardly any difference at all. But it's been a really great knife, and it's definitely one that I will keep forever and ever, unless they come out with one that has like a more clean look like this in 20 CV. But I don't see that happening. I do hope that they get away from putting... They're not doing this just on the 0393. The 0609 is the same way. The 0609, all the sprint runs are S35, where the production one is 20 CV. So I'm hoping they just had a whole lot of S35 to get through. And when they get through it, they stop doing this. Because again, it's an annoyance. It's not a huge thing. They do charge less. So it's not really much to complain about, but it's just annoying. It's just an annoying knife guy thing. I don't think their average consumers are going to give a crap. But yeah, I'm loving this thing more and more every day. This has definitely been the last couple months the knife when I don't have anything to review or whatever, I just reach for. It's been fantastic. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I'm going to do this probably once every, I don't know, month, couple months. Depends on when I have more stuff that I have to do long-term updates on. And let me know in the comments whether you're live or not. If I assume you're alive if you're making comments, but whether you're in the Premiere or not, if you like this format to do long-term updates. I just want to do something different, just to change it up. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I've been Brian. Have a good one.